Welcome back once again. I can't stop doing this. Welcome back to Electric Avenue's YouTube channel. Here doing what I feel like I've been doing every week for almost 2 years now. Crazy times. So I hope you all are doing as well as possible. Thanks for tuning in. And I just am going to give you a little rundown today of what's new and happening in the world of music releases that we have been getting in the store. And I just want to start with a big props to Ronnie Spector, who just passed away. I was just looking through the bins earlier and I found Ronette's Be My Baby, classic song produced by Phil. She never was able to quite completely get out of the shadow of her specter of a husband. Wah, wah. What an iconic vocalist, and it's a tremendous loss. I feel like 2022 has already been kind of crappy in a lot of ways, where we've lost Betty White, Bob Saget. I'm sure there are a couple others I'm forgetting right now, but add Ronnie to the list. And then you start asking yourself, why do the good ones keep going? Yeah, I don't know. Was it Billy Joel that sang Only the Good Die Young? I mean, and she wasn't young, but per se, but my nephews would love that. Anyway, I don't know. So, new stuff that I wanted to talk about. Rest in peace, Ronnie. This just showed up for me today. I know other people have been getting them out there for a while. Finally, I got my second shipment of Radiohead's Kid Amnesia, the Kid A with Amnesiac on it, and the third record of bonus material. This got so screwed up for indie stores back in the fall. They announced it, and then there's no way that they can keep up with the demand, and it seemed like the people who got it were online accounts who got I think there were also a bunch of indies that maybe got a few if they were that fortunate, but it was really a pain, along with that Nirvana record. So I just kept them on order, just hoping that they would show up, and yes, there's a few, so that's good. I love both of those albums, so, and if you love them and you want some of the bonus material, now's your chance. Also, something that came out this week, or really it was sort of supposed to be last week, but it came late, was David Bowie, the Hunky Dory picture disc reissue of this album. It's the 50th anniversary of that. I think it's also maybe 50, it's coming up on 50 of Ziggy Stardust too. So I don't know why the Bowie estate hasn't done more to celebrate this album, because it is perennially one of his biggest sellers and probably one of his best. For me, it's like top 3 albums of his probably. Has Life on Mars, Changes, and then other things too, like Andy Warhol, Kooks, Oh You Pretty Things. It's great. So, so there's a picture disc out there, which probably doesn't sound all that great, although to have David's head spinning on your turntable is great. And supposedly there is a version of Low that's coming out that's on orange vinyl for very limited. I was speaking with a friend the other day in the UK, and apparently there's like 10,000 of those being made, and the UK is keeping 8,500 of them, so that means 1,500 for the rest of the world. So you can see where that story is going too, as far as allocations and stuff. So don't get too hyped on it, Bowie fans, because it might be tough. I don't know. And it's supposed to be for brick and mortar indie stores only. They don't want anyone selling it online, and I don't know how they're policing that, but I'm sure they will. So, welcome to the world of supply and demand, right? Okay, new releases this week. Let's see. I will start with, this is actually interesting. This is the new Elvis Costello and the Imposters, The Boy Named If. remember what the title is in reference to, but IF stands for something. Yeah, supposedly this is more of a return to kind of the rockier side of Elvis. I think that his last record, which I really liked, had a very rockin' first single, which was a little bit of a red herring because the album was sort of all over the place from like 3 different sessions that he'd done. So some of the songs were really jazzy. This is supposed to be a little more rockin', I don't know, but I can't wait to hear it. And this is just the regular vinyl. There's apparently a colored vinyl version that's coming. For some reason, that was delayed until February. And I guess that just sort of is a convenient way of driving the point that if you want the record now, you're going to have to get the black one. And if you want to wait for the color, then you're just going to have to wait and, I don't know, stream it or whatever. And I'm sure that the colored ones will be allocated. So again, you know, it's like, it starts getting to me like, I just want to hear the record. I'm not also super precious about the colored variants. I know a lot of people are. It's funny because I have some friends who actually prefer the black vinyl. You know, they say it sounds better. I don't know if that's really the case, but you know, you could consider black as just another color, really. And I think with black, if you shine it in the light, it's much easier to see if there's an imperfection or a flaw than if you're looking at something clear or splatter or whatever. So I don't know. People get insane with the variants. I'm just like, yeah, if it's spinning on your turntable across the room, tell me what color you hear. Unless you have some kind of superpowers that we don't know about. Speaking of which, here's the new Lumineers album. This is called Bright Side. And Lumineers have been kind of, in my estimation, been experiencing sort of a renaissance for them in a way. I know that sounds weird, but, and then this is the color vinyl version too. It says pressed on Oceania wax. So it's like a blue something. And then there's a regular version too. Yeah, Lumineers, especially, well, the first album has been almost impossible to get for a while. And, well, I call it the self-titled. And then the second one, which was Cleopatra, sold very well throughout the lockdowns and stuff. And every time they would run out of it, and then all of a sudden there'd be more, and then they'd run out of it. So right now we can't get those records. And then the third album was much less, I would say it was much less popular from a sales standpoint because they got a little more conceptual, and I don't know if the fans really dug it. So it'll be interesting to hear what they do with this one. So next up, Cat Power covers. Well, Cat Power has done covers albums before, and they've always been good in my estimation. And this is an indie exclusive, of course, gold vinyl. I like her covers albums. It's been about 5 or 6 years, maybe 6 or 7 years since I think Sun was the last album. So it's been a while. So it's kind of nice to have Chan doing something now. I can't say she hasn't done anything. I think she appeared on, who was the band that did Ibifornia? Someone out there is going to tell me. With Cassius. That's it. Well, one of the members, Philip Zadar, passed away a year or two ago. He fell out of a hotel balcony or something. It was something terrible. But she did a lot of vocals on their last record, which I think had members of the Beastie Boys and stuff like that as well. Anyway, it's good to have her back. Okay, at the World of Jazz reissues, we have 2 more Verve acoustic sounds this week. There's John Coltrane live at the Village Vanguard and John Coltrane Crescent. Yeah, look for the little acoustic sound stickers there that Verve have been putting on these. These feel really nice. Like the cardstock is really good. They feel heavy. They feel substantial. Really well made, well crafted. So if you have like a version that's you know, kind of a placeholder and you want to trade up or something, now might be the time to do it. I have a feeling that these are not going to be around for very long. They're popular, and I know they're probably all sold out already at the warehouses. So if you don't get one right now, I'm sorry. It's just, again, we're trying supply and demand. So, but there should be some out in the public here this weekend. Another reissue. So Bethlehem Records has been starting to get some of their stuff reissued through, like I think it's so BMG is doing these, and I don't know. The thing is, they're not as expensive as these others, but they're still not cheap. I don't know. They feel heavy, 180 gram, but I'm not sure who's handling the remastering or whatever. It's not like Acoustic Sounds or Kevin Gray doing Blue Note or whatever. But this one is really pretty cool. Motor City Scene. This has Donald Byrd and Pepper Adams are listed as the main artists on here, but Kenny Burrell, Tommy Flanagan, Hay Lewis, and Paul Chambers are the other artists on it. So it says it's a 1960 classic. I'm not familiar with that album, so I might want to check that out. But again, I think that one's going to be kind of hard to get to because I already see the warehouses running out of it. It's like they're there and gone, and you really have to be on it and know your jazz and be watching these things every week, or be on the lookout in advance. And sometimes it's hard to know what's coming. There was a Dexter Gordon coming. I think it was scheduled for early in the month, and now it's coming out in a week or two, called Daddy Plays the Horn. That's another one to be watching for. So, yeah, Bethlehem is getting in on the jazz reissues because there's a big market for that. And I will say that I've seen my jazz clientele, people who are interested in it, probably triple in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's great. I think it's, especially during a pandemic, it's the kind of music that you can put on and not necessarily have to think about it in a way that it takes your attention with a lot of vocals. I mean, unless you're listening to a jazz vocalist. But a lot of times it's just kind of like another form of sort of like zoning, meditating, shutting out the sort of like all the anger and stuff in the world. So, yeah, it can be kind of enjoyable. All right. What am I talking about? I feel like I'm just rambling and minimizing the importance of jazz. Next up, the Wombats. So this says Eco Mix, so I'm assuming that this album is a eco-friendly way that they've sort of manufactured it, similar to what they've done with like Lord's recent album. But the Wombats are from Australia, and they always do pretty cool, interesting pop records, pop rock. I haven't heard anything from this one yet, but anyway, I love their cover art. They always look interesting. All right, in the world of sort of regular sort of reissues, we're getting 21 Pilots Vessel. You say, there are thousands of people that have this album. Why is this important? Well, we haven't had it for probably about 7, 8, 9 months now. It was sort of their breakthrough album, and then followed by Blurry Face. Those are the two really big sellers. And this is a limited edition silver vinyl version in part of Fueled by Ramen's 25th anniversary campaign. They also did 21 Pilots, Blurry Face, Paramore, Riot, I think Panic at the Disco, one or two of their albums. And they're always limited. They're around for a little while and then they're gone. And then Rhino this week in the Start Your Ear Off Right campaign, they have Otis Redding, Best Of. Now, this is different because it's on translucent blue vinyl, and it says newly remastered from the original mono master tapes. Okay. It's phrases like that that always kind of set me off a little bit. Like, which mono master tapes? Where did they come from? Who worked on it? And because sometimes they could be like a mono transfer. I mean, this says original mono, so I don't know if that is the case or what. But Rhino's usually pretty good about this stuff. So if you want Dock of the Bay, respect, My Girl, well, his version of My Girl, that's on there. Another one that might be of interest, and I don't know if people really know this record, it's Miles Davis and Michel Legrand's Dingo soundtrack. So this came out right after Miles passed away. So it's early 90s, or I guess very late 80s. I don't know if it's got a date on here. 1991. So it's kind of more of the abstract sort of ambient side of Miles playing. But I don't know, what I heard was pretty good. It's not, because it's a mix of Miles and Chuck Finley doing stuff. It's sort of a hodgepodge, but it's not very expensive. $23, 20, yeah, 22, 23. It's on deep red vinyl. So, I mean, if you're trying to fill out a Miles collection and you're like, I want something later that's not funk, because he did stuff like, was it Tutu, and they were more sort of like funk soul kind of stuff. The Monkees, Pisces, Aquarius, yada yada. I always forget the title. Capricorn and Jones Limited. This is the one with Pleasant Valley Sunday and Words. It was their fourth #1 album, their 1967 masterpiece on translucent green vinyl. Obviously, they're taking a cue from the Beatles here. Yeah, and I don't know. Monkees are very underrated. Oh, there's another one. Mike Nesmith. How could I forget? Rest in peace. It was since the first that he passed away, correct? It's been so many people already. It's hard to gauge. Let's see. Limited edition blue vinyl of Richard Hell and the Voidoids. Blank Generation. Sort of a punk classic, 1977. Okay, so that does it for the Rhino stuff for the week. And then some random sort of reissues. This is kind of interesting. Gun Vile. So this is Steve Gunn and Kurt Vile, Philadelphia, suburban sort of, or surrounding area. Purple vinyl. This is an album that they did together. Gosh, I think it was 2014. Oh well, look at this picture. It sort of says it all right there. Young. So anyway, Kurt with his flowing locks, of course, and Steve is so talented. I really liked his last record. Looks like they're covering Randy Newman, John Prine, Nico. And then they each do some. Mary Lattimore's on there too. So that's cool. Rob Halford, solo record, Resurrection. This is from 2000. First time on vinyl since 2000. Exclusive red, limited to 1,000. I don't have very many of them, so if you're interested, you're going to have to let me know. Another one that's kind of sort of off the beaten path, Jeff Tweedy's Chelsea Walls soundtrack. I think this starred Rosario Dawson. Directed Ethan Hawke. Features Jeff Tweedy, Wilco, and Glenn. Let's see. I think it also has some other people on here. Robert Sean Leonard does a couple of songs. One with Steve Zahn. Jimmy Scott does Jealous Guy, which is pretty cool. There's a Billy Bragg and Wilco track too. So that's going to be pretty limited, I have a feeling. Another one that's some people have already, but we just got it for the first time, is the OC's, the first album of the live Levitation sessions on colored vinyl. I showed the second a while back. And lastly, but not leastly, is that a word? There's a couple of White Stripes albums that sort of tottered in this week. Get Behind Me, Satan, and Elephant are back in print. Now, I have to quantify this because I believe that these are coming as imports. You know, they are I don't know. They're pressed by Third Man, and they feel well. I think they are. I mean, and it says Sony Legacy on the back, so I'm not really sure. But they're new. They do feel very heavy and substantial. Like again, the cardstock is big. You know, very well pressed, well made, whatever. But they run about $55 each, and this is becoming more and more the norm, unfortunately, because of all of these supply chain woes, and now we're seeing inflation, and it just sort of seems sometimes like random inflation. And what was the? I mean, even. Oh, I think I got the Smiths Meat is Murder yesterday, and it was $40. And I thought, well, it's not as expensive as some, but that's still pretty high. It was $10 more than it was the last time I had it. And I think mainly because it's an import and also because of these sort of inflative prices and dealing with the Brexit issues going on and shipping and all that. Shipping has gone through the roof. So they have to make up the money somewhere. So it's actually a little bit of a negative. Like you see that and you go, oh, you know, you're doing better financially, but then you're like, but I'm also not really selling more records that much than I normally would because the prices are more. So it's kind of creating a false sense of growth when really it's like, you're sort of hitting that wall of people going, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that much. I mean, I see a lot more records now in the $20 range that sell over something that's more just because something is more expensive. You know, even something, if you compare an artist like Lorde to Billie Eilish, let's say, in their last releases that came out in the summer, I think there was sort of word of mouth that Billie's album was maybe better. I don't know. I liked them both, but the Lorde album was maybe about $10 more, and part of that was because she was using recycled materials, so it cost more. But Billie was too. So then you're like, well, what's the difference here? And I don't know if it's just, you know, the record company asking that price because they know they can. I mean, we'd seen that for a while with like The Weeknd and Lana Del Rey, where their prices seem to be really escalating. And now it seems to be more like you look at some of those prices and you think, it's sort of not out of the ballpark anymore. And that's kind of a weird feeling too. So anyway, this video is not going to be about all the pricing issues going on in the world. I feel like I've talked about that ad nauseum. But yeah, so anyway, that sort of does it for this week. And I thank you all very much for watching. Have a great week. And yeah, next week is, yeah, there's some stuff. I'd say the next big week is probably the 28th. But we are January 2022 already. Does it feel like it? Yeah. Anyway, take care of yourselves and thank you. See you next time.